we are actually looking at how statistics or how the data is collected to the point of giving the final information. Now, in life, everything goes through a cycle. Business goes through a cycle. Humanity goes through a cycle. Accounts goes through a cycle. So is statistics. So I want us to actually look at what is the cycle of human being. Can somebody tell me what is your cycle? Where do you start and where do you end? Hey, why are you so fast? Where are you running? Or that's how hospitality language goes through. So how do you go about? You start from conception, is it? Okay, conception, and then mm-hmm, and then uh, and then you mature, is it? Then from birth you come to maturity. Maturity to what? Um, Old age, is it? You become old. Then when you become old, now this is me speaking, not you. You go back where you come from. You don't die. I don't know if that theory is correct or wrong. Then somebody said you die, but I object that terminology. Where did you come from? And where you come from is where you are going. So this issue of saying you go nowhere is not true. You go somewhere where you came from. Before you were, you must have been. Anyway, now what is the cycle of statistics? In statistics, this is our critical cycle. Number one is the problem. What is the problem? Identify the problem. Come up with a problem. If there is no problem, please create a problem. And that is what actually makes people make a difference. In life, when you solve a problem, you earn income. Is it okay? So income generation is always accompanied by a problem. So if you can see a problem, you see money. If you're not seeing any problem, you're not seeing money. So we need to identify what is the problem. Grasping the dynamics, the system dynamics. So you are employed in a particular company, you need to understand why things are not moving the way it has to be moving. Why there is no efficiency and effectiveness. Then now identify the what? The problem. In research, without the problem, there is no research. Number two, plan how you will undertake how you will resolve your problem. So planning entails measurement system, sampling design, data management, piloting, and analysis. So when you are planning, you need to put in place the measurement system. How will you measure your data? Which sampling designing will you be using? Data management, how will you manage your data, which actually you are collecting as part of the problem? Then piloting. Piloting means you test, you take particular event in a particular area and test whether the parameters or the variables that you have can be used in identifying and solving the problem, and then do the analysis. Number three, data. Data collection, data management, and data cleansing. Yes. Now, piloting means I'm doing a research about water problem in Kenya. Is it okay? I'll not be able to go around all this part of the country as Kenya. So Kenya has been subdivided into counties. So I'll say I'm doing my research in maybe Kajiado County. Now, if I'm doing my research in Kajiado County, are the variables that I'm using worth doing my analysis, my research? So the best thing I can do is to pilot. Identify a pilot study. Your pilot study is a place outside your area of sampling. So if you are doing it in Kajiado, just you can pick Mombasa or pick Kakamega as your pilot study to identify whether your variables that you have identified can be used in testing the problem. Is that okay? Now, another area is the data. No data, no solution. So with the presence of the data, you must have data. So data is critical for analysis. So number one, data collection. How will you collect your data? Or how will you collect your data? There are only two methods of collecting data. One is called what? Those who have done statistics. I hope this is not your first class in statistics. Have you ever done any class apart from this? Or this is the first one? Okay. So there are only two methods of data collection. We have primary method and secondary method. But later, so somebody to switch off the mic. So at later stage, we look at each and every method. And then we have data management. How will you manage your data? And then data cleansing. How will you clean your data so that you remain with the best data that will be used in the analysis of your problem? So in analysis, data exploration, planned analysis, and planned analysis, hypothesis generation. So this is how you will analyze your data. You need to do your exploration and then you plan your analysis. How will you carry out the analysis? There is what you call unplanned analysis. Analysis which is out of your plan. They just come in. It was not part of the plan. And then hypothesis means you test the variables. Whether they are, in hypothesis we talk about significance. So whether they are significant or not significant. So those are based on the two variables that you have, the independent variable and the dependent variable. So when you talk about hypothesis generation, we are now talking about, is your data predicting your problem? Is the data that you have collected telling us about the problem? So we talk about significance. So when you talk about significance, there are two very important hypotheses. There is what you call null hypothesis and there is what you call alternative hypothesis. So when you bring in the null hypothesis, it's always negative, not significant. Alternative hypothesis is always significant. So the hypothesis that you are subjecting to test is called null hypothesis. Finally, conclusion. So we have now interpretation, conclusion, new ideas, and communication. So in other words, you're adding new ideas, you're adding new knowledge to what is already existing, giving direction, giving solution, and giving the best decision that can be made by whoever will use the data to run, operate businesses, and operate their management. So it is critical to know this is a cycle of statistics. Where is the cycle of statistics starting? It is starting from the problem, then you move to the plan. After planning, identify the data. How will you get the data? From the data, you go to analysis. How will you analyze? And then after analysis, then give us the conclusion. the findings, and the recommendation. Is that clear? Any question as far as cycle of statistic is concerned? So we'll be looking at data collection, and then analysis, then the conclusion. How do you normally arrive at the conclusion?